Hello, you. So, how you doing so far? Remember, the point of this whole project is designed to give you the space to think through what you believe. So, before we keep moving forward, I wanted to look back a little bit and see if it's making sense so far. If you remember, our first big fork in the road in trying to decide what's real, what's legit, what's the story behind all of our stories is there something more than just us, or are we all there is? The idea that we are all there is, it's a belief called naturalism. And naturalism believes that only the things that we can touch and see are real, that there's nothing more than nature, that we are molecules and biological processes and chemicals that are interacting with one another, that bits of matter sort of fell into other bits of matter and they became something else, which continued to fall into itself and until it fell into some patterns and were the result of all of that. That there's no purpose behind any of it. Everything just sort of fell into existence the way that it is, and it moves forward. That we're just sort of random cells that are interacting with one another, and it's kind of like this oil and water. If you shake it up, you can see that there are these molecules and they just sort of bump into one another, and they're really subject to just the forces that are outside of them. They don't choose where they're going to bump into one another, how they're going to interact with each other as oil molecules or as water molecules. They just are, they're just subject to chance. They're subject to the forces that are around them. The opposite of this idea is called supernaturalism, and that is believing that there is something behind it all, that there's an intention, a purpose, a personality, that there's a force or a spirit or a god, or that there's something behind all of everything that we see. And it's sort of the idea that we're less oil and water and we're all sort of more like this blueberry muffin, that the ingredients that went into it were put together on purpose, that sugar was in there to make it a little sweet, and that flour and butter and eggs would hold it all together, and that blueberries would give it personality, that the muffin came together not by chance but on purpose, that it's not an accident, it's a recipe and it was put together on purpose. So looking at these two options, there's more than what there is, supernaturalism, or what we see is all there is, naturalism. It's kind of, have you ever been to the eye doctor, and you know how they have that big machine that you look through and he flips the lenses and says, is it better here or here? And one of them is real blurry and one of them is clear. Well, that's kind of what these two ideas are. We're trying to see which lens makes life blurry and which lens makes life clear. If we look at what we do know about reality, if we look at what we feel and what we think about belonging, about loneliness, about mattering, about purpose, which of those two worldviews, which of those two ideas makes the world around us clearer, and which one makes the world around us a little more blurry? And again, the reason this matters is because what we believe about mattering and purpose and what those values rest on really affects how we behave and how we perceive our lives. How I feel about other people rests on whether I believe that they matter, or whether I believe that it's my responsibility to help them belong, or if I want to belong myself. So that affects what I believe, affects how I behave. And the truth of the matter is, everyone has a belief about these things. It's just that most people haven't taken the time to think it through. And this is your opportunity to think it through. So you can see when difficult times come, you can know what you have to hold on to help you understand, because sometimes life is really difficult. You know, people leave and they get sick, and things happen that are outside of our control. There's all sorts of things that we can't control about the world around us, but how we perceive it and how we respond to it is within our control, and all of that is governed by what we believe. So just a little circling back to say, to remind us where we're going and why we're going there, and what the purpose is. And as we're going to carry on with some new clues and some new ideas, but as we do, I want you to just keep in mind that, again, our two forks in the road is that we're deciding, are we oil and water, or are we blueberry muffin? So I love you. I hope you have a great weekend, and I look forward to seeing you on Monday. Take care.